Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So let me introduce myself again. My name is Windy Astikasari. I'm from Department of English Language Education, Faculty of Education and Teaching Training, Jakarta State Islamic University. And now I will tell you about the book I have read before. So the title is Public Speaking Storytelling Technique for Electrifying Presentation. So this is author book is Akash Karia. The book published by CreateSpace. The book that published in 2015 years. So the number page this book is 130 page. Okay, this book is the result of 6 years of intensive research on the art of storytelling and public speaking. Inside, you will discover how to create an opening that instantly looks your audience into your speech, keep your audience captivate with a story, use the suspense story formula to ramp up the intrigue. Bring your characters to life, turn your story into mental movie for your audience, and keep your audience spellbound by increasing the intensity of your conflicts. Add organic humor to any presentation without resorting to jokes. Make your speech memorable with the right analogies and metaphors. Create the reputable catchphrase using the rule of the opposite. Tell a story and deliver a speech that your audience will remember and talk about for years. So this book is a great for people who are in a speech contest. This book is perfect because there are 35 tips when developing any speech for Toastmaster. I will expand the table of content in this book. This book, the chapter ones about how to be twice the speaker in half the time. In the chapter 2, the ultimate question by Lance Miller. Chapter 3, how to create a spell blinding story. In chapter 4, finding your rhyme by Longardan's Krisanazan. In chapter 5, how to inspire your audience. In chapter 6, it's not about the knockdown by Humphrey. In chapter 7, how to turn your story into a life-changing speech. In chapter 8, Feed the Right Dog by Eric Rainey. Okay, in this chapter 1, this chapter explains about the author giving away to the technique of speaking in public speaking. This speaking technique is used by words-based speakers. Technique speaking is a storytelling technique. In this chapter, it is hoped that the speaker can provide humor and dialogue to the audience to become speakers twice in half the time. So next, I will explain this chapter 2. So In this chapter to describe the speech was delivered by the 2005 World Speaking Champion, and the speeches the author gave by listening and performing the techniques as given by the author. And then add observation in any handwriting that should be observed in the speaker brain. The next of the chapter 3. This chapter 3 explains the speaker's steps in telling a terrible story according to Lance and other famous speakers. This chapter also includes some opinions from famous speakers. The author also gives tips to end the conversation is not embracing by interacting with the audience. And chapter 4, this chapter 4 describes the rhyme given by Longendran Kazani. The author enters his speech and the reader must analyze the techniques that Longendran Kazani brings. In addition, it is also practiced by readers who have been given by the author about the speakers by Longendran Kazani. In chapter 5, this chapter explains how speakers can provide input for the audience. After that, the speaker must inspire others for the audience to believe. The authors expect that the speaker can enter the heart of the audience. Next, chapter 6. This is chapter describe the speech given by the author about the life of one Muhammad Ali's brothers. In addition, teaching about what life has taught to the reader never fails to keep the audience attention. The topic discussed is about knockdowns. In chapter 7, this chapter explains about the author giving a lens step for the speaker to build a story. In addition, it provides an interesting story about life for a building idea for audience. In chapter 8, this chapter describes the author giving an example of speech about properly feeding dogs. This chapter, the author teach in speech will content about imagination, dream, and imagery. The goal is to build interaction with the audience. This book provides for entering a speeches provided by award-winning KineMaster from the world level. I may be getting some of that wrong, and the author breaks the speeches down to explain why they work, how they work, and how they can be applied in our own conversation, presentation, and speech. So this is a book was funny, inspirational, and educational. A big issue that I have with some self-help book is that they almost always seem repetitive by the end of the book because they want to drive home the important points. This is a book did not do that. Maybe that has something to do with the length. Maybe I wouldn't want to read this book if was 4 times as long. After all, maybe there's a case that he could have touched on a comedic timing and all that. I feel like I would be fine reading 16 speech but it might have to be without the commentary. Does the thought of presenting feel with you, Dreads? Don't know how to start, fill out the middle, and then reach the end with your audience still in the room and still awake. Then this a book full of tips and such advice is a bit like completing a jigsaw puzzle. Each part carefully uh, construct to interact easily together, eventually uh, revealing to your audience the wonderful picture that you want your presentation to be. A great must be a great must be a read the book. This book is a excellent guide for navigating development with the learner engagement in mind. I appreciate the approach to the art and science of storytelling. So thank you. Okay guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.